Let us for a few moments pray to Sri Ramakrishna for peace and harmony among the mankind. Shanti Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Sthapakaya Jadharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Sthapakaya Jadharmasya Sarvadharma Swarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us bow down to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. The topic which I started in last Tuesday, the discipline of truthfulness. There are various methods and practices for realizing God. And here Sri Ramakrishna is giving one specific practice. Just be truthful, you will realize God. He is guaranteeing that one can realize God by being truthful. In our Vedas, it is very clearly specified. Satyam vada, speak the truth. Dharmanchara, follow righteousness. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam, don't give up study of spiritual texts. These are the main important disciplines to be followed. In olden times, people certainly were following these disciplines, so they had reached the maximum spiritual glory. Everyone, most of them had tremendous spiritual power because they were practicing these disciplines. Over the period of time, people could not follow these disciplines strictly. Accordingly, the power got diminished. Now, very little power is left, if at all. And so, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, in this modern time, the real austerity is to practice truthfulness. To make the truth perfect, one must have the same idea in thought, in speech, and in action. In Sanskrit there is a saying, Manasyekam, Vachasyekam, Karmanyekam, Mahatmanah. So, word and deed, mind, word and deed will be the same for a truthful great man. There is another Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, one of the major Upanishads, it proclaims that truth alone triumphs, not untruth. The divine path, that is the life of a spiritual striving, is paved with truth. Satyameva jayate na anrutam satyena pantha vitato devayanaha. That's the meaning, what I said just before. The same Upanishad again says, Satyena labhyastapasa hyesha atma. The Atman, the indwelling consciousness in every being, is realized only through truth and tapas. See, these are the statements recorded in the spiritual texts. We have to keep reading them again and again, because mind is so forgetful. The world is so distracting. Our thoughts and actions are quite contrary to the path of righteousness. So, we need to read again and again, study these spiritual texts over and over again, think deeply over them, practice them sincerely. It is possible to experience the truth. You have to be sincere, you have to be determined, you have to be willing. With determination and willingness, why should it not possible? Why not possible? It is appearing difficult because there is not sufficient willingness, or there is not sufficient determination, or properly you are not equipped with required qualifications. Well, so Sri Ramakrishna tells, in this age, just follow the truth. Practice truthfulness. You get the same benefit as you practice any yoga. And Sri Ramakrishna is telling, you will see God by practicing truth. And we have got many stories illustrating the greatness of truth. You know, in our Hindu tradition, the source book, Vedas, 4 Vedas, ocean of knowledge, ocean, great ocean of knowledge. And then it is followed by Puranas, another mine of wealth, spiritual wealth is there in the Puranas. 18 Puranas are there. Purana means this life and life stories of various generations, saints and sages, how the saints formed, how the people get transformed into saintliness, how man suffering through bad karmas got liberated by engaging oneself in good deeds. All these are very nicely dealt with in the Puranas. There are 18 Puranas in number, 18. And again, they are followed by another 18 Puranas. So 4 Vedas plus 36 Puranas. Huge wealth. And you are starving. You are poor spiritually. What a shame. Having the wealth in front of you, you are behaving like a beggar, like a poor man. That shows you are so foolishly ignorant. Foolishly ignorant. That's the word. Everything is given. It is transparent. It is not hidden. Anybody can practice and reach God and see God. And in order to authenticate these teachings of the scriptures, Sri Ramakrishna has shown in his own life how he himself practiced truth. And he is declaring, by practicing truthfulness, you will reach God. So, the exemplary characters of the Puranas, if you read them, they are so uplifting and encourages you to practice spiritual life more vigorously. If you have not studied, please study the story of Harishchandra. It's remarkable. He gives up his wife and only child, himself becomes the servant of a person who was performing funeral rites. In order to keep up his truthfulness, he had to undergo a lot of hardships and humiliations. He was a great king. He was a great king. But he was well known as a person of truthfulness. So, he was put under severe test. One of the great rishis, Vishwamitra, himself began to test him, wanted to know how far he is holding on to truthfulness. If you read the story of Harishchandra, you will see how he was not shaken by any difficult circumstances. And finally he got the vision of Maheshwara and the Divine Mother. Both of them came. They gave darshan to Harishchandra. They blessed him, blessed his wife, blessed his child, and their life has become model for all of us to follow. And Puranas contain all these different stories, stories of generations of families. There is another story. His name also is well known in our Hindu tradition. He is Mahabali. He was a very powerful person, a very great hero. He lost everything for the sake of truth. For the sake of truth. And he even did not follow what his Acharya said to him. When Acharya warned him that some divine power is trying to grab all your power, be very careful. But Mahabali was not shaken. He said, what of that? I don't want to give up my truthfulness just because I lose my power. Let the power go. I don't care. See? He was well known for charity. When a brahmacharin, the Supreme Lord of the universe, he came in the guise of a brahmacharin, a novice, full of celibacy, shining face, young boy. And he came and he was asking the King Mahabali, well, you are well known for charity. Will you please give me only 3 steps of land for me? Only 3 steps. Mahabali said, why are you asking only 3 steps of land? I can give you whatever land you want. Whatever things you want to ask me. You are so bright, you are so inspiring to look at you. Because it is divine attraction. Divine attraction is like that. You can't take away your eyes. When God really appears before you, you'll be thrilled, you'll be in ecstasy because you are overwhelmed by the vision. So we saw Sri Ramakrishna how he fell into samadhi when he saw Divine Mother. So he was prepared to give up land. He was prepared to give up anything. He has said, I have told you, I will give you. Ask, definitely it will be given. It's not empty word. He means what he said. Finished. So what is the result? He received the blessings of the Lord. Lord Vishnu, one of the Trinities, who came as Vamana, the incarnation, his name was Vaman. He says in the end, he tested Mahabali in many ways. In spite of all humiliations, Mahabali did not give up his truthfulness. By adherence to truth, he conquered Maya. So the Lord blessed him with the highest position, not attained even by gods. In the Ramayana, another famous scripture, the story of Sri Ramachandra, another incarnation of God, whose whole life was the embodiment of truthfulness. It is said in the Ramayana, in Ayodhya Kanda, Satyameveshvaro loke satye padma pratisthita satyamulani sarvani satyannasti param padam. The meaning is, truth is the Lord of the world. Prosperity depends on truth. All originates from truth. There is nothing greater than truth. Satya lokaha pratisthitaha. The whole world is established in truth. So, righteousness and truth are the greatest pillars on which the universe rests. Don't think universe means only our little earth. Huge. Nobody can say how many lokas are there. Lokas are infinite. Beings are infinite. Because everything is infinite. God Himself is infinite. Where is the limit? Where is the limit? Sri Ramakrishna's advent on earth was for the establishment of dharma. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. Swami Vivekananda composed a poem on Sri Ramakrishna. It is Swamiji's words. Sthapakaya cha dharmasya. To establish dharma, Sri Ramakrishna came. He upholds truth through all his words and through all his deeds. Sri Ramakrishna says, the best name that we can give it to God is truth. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Satyam is God. If you are practicing truthfulness, you are meditating on God Himself, the embodiment of truth. So, under no circumstances should one give up truth. And Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, even those who are engaged in worldly activities should hold to truth. Truthfulness alone is the spiritual discipline in this Kali Yuga, in this modern age. These are the words of Sri Ramakrishna. He especially instructs the householders who are living a family life. Sri Ramakrishna says, if a person leads a householder's life, he must have unflagging devotion to truth. God can be realized through truth alone. Said by Sri Ramakrishna. It is in the Gospel. Even in trifling matters, one should not deviate from truthfulness. Take the example of Sri Ramakrishna's life itself. As a child, he had promised the blacksmith lady, her name was Dhani, he told that woman that he would receive his first bhiksha after Upanayam from her. That is, there is a ritual, thread ceremony. All the Brahmin boys, they get it at the age of 8 or 9. They are infested with the sacred thread and they will be given Gayatri mantra. That's called Upanayana Samskar. It's very important. Actually, one becomes a Brahmin after this only. After getting thread ceremony, after getting initiated into Gayatri mantra, he becomes Brahmin. That's why it's called Dvija. Dvija means second birth. When he gets initiation, it is called second birth. And in that ceremony, there's a particular program. Immediately after the thread ceremony and the initiation, the boy has to beg for food, first from the mother. And here, because he had promised that he would take first food from the blacksmith woman, and people were all embarrassed because according to Brahmin custom, nobody will take the food from a person belonging to different community. But then the boy insisted on fulfilling his promise. He said, I have given the word, I have to fulfill it. And even the elders had to agree Though it looked unorthodox step, but Sri Ramakrishna adhered to his truthfulness. He said, I have told, I will receive the bhiksha from her. There is another instance. See, they are all how touching. That only shows how one has to be careful every moment of his life. Not simply half a day I will be careful, afterwards I can go in any manner. No. Every moment in 24 hours you must be careful. You must be devoted. You must be spiritual. You must be truthful. That is the discipline you have to do. So, there is another instance in Sri Ramakrishna's life. He used to take one lemon, which is food, every day. One of his devotees had given him permission to take one lemon from his garden every day. So, every day the gardener would bring one lemon to Sri Ramakrishna and he would take along with his food. As usual, the gardener had brought one lemon on a particular day. Sri Ramakrishna could not touch it, let alone taking. He could not even touch the lemon. Everybody was surprised. What happened? Why? What is wrong with the lemon? Then later on, after inquiring about it, it was found that the owner of the garden had leased out the garden to someone else. That means that garden did not belong to him anymore. So this lemon has come from a person who has taken that garden on lease. It is immoral, illegal. So this lemon had been plucked out without the permission of the new owner. So in Sri Ramakrishna's eyes, it was equal to stealing. His adherence to truth was so instinctive that even unknown to himself, he could not deviate from literal truth. How deeply the spirit of truthfulness was ingrained in his nature, and how the Divine Mother protected him from the least deviation from truth. You can see this also from another incident in Sri Ramakrishna's life. It is called opium incident. It deals with opium. There was a devotee, Shambhu Charan Malik. He had a dispensary for the poor people. That dispensary was established in his garden. He came to know that Sri Ramakrishna was suffering from diarrhea. So he advised him to take a few doses of opium. And Shambhu Malik, who himself was running a dispensary, offered to give him some of the opium doses before he leaves the place. Sri Ramakrishna accepted. Then they entered into conversation. In the course of the conversation, both forgot about it. Shambhu Malik also did not remember, Sri Ramakrishna also did not remember about the opium. After taking his leave, the master was proceeding towards temple. Immediately he remembered about the opium. Well, I did not take opium. He said he would give. So he came back in order to take the opium. But he found Shambhu Malik was very busy, was not easily available at the moment. So what Sri Ramakrishna did was, he didn't want to trouble him, but he took little opium from one of the people in charge, and then he set out for the Kali temple. But what happened? To his surprise, that he was not able to find the way to the temple. Though he was very familiar with all the ways, lanes, paths of the locality, he kept straying into wrong paths. Somehow he could not proceed in a path which would lead to Dakshineshwar temple. He looked back, he could plainly see the path leading to Shambhu Malik's place. Looking back was very clear, looking ahead was not clear. So, he tried again and again, but he failed. Sri Ramakrishna could not proceed, could not walk any further. Sri Ramakrishna himself says he got confused. He could not find the right path, and he was as if pushed backward, as it were. Then, after repeated struggles, he realized that Shambhu had asked him to take the opium from him, not from his agent, who had no right to give it without the master's permission. That's all. But what Sri Ramakrishna has done, he did not want to trouble Shambhu Malik, so he asked the in charge of the department, and he took opium from the agent, which was not correct. So, he might have been guilty of falsehood and theft if the Divine Mother had not detected that, and so with the Mother's grace, he was not allowed to proceed further so that he could fulfill what he had spoken with Shambhu Malik. So he threw the package back through a window and he said, "Look, I am returning you the opium." He just didn't take it. Because it was Shambhu who was to give him. So he should not take himself. So he threw it away into his place, and now he set out for the temple. He could see the way very clearly. He could walk straight to the temple. There is no spell over his mind, and he safely reached to the temple. Referring to this incident, he said afterwards, "It is because I place my whole responsibility upon the Mother that she holds me by the hand and never allows me to stray even by an inch from the truth." Very often Sri Ramakrishna used to show his displeasure to those who did not observe truth in their words and deeds. Once he said to Shivanath, one of his devotees, it is said that truthfulness alone constitutes the spiritual discipline of the Kali Yuga. If a man clings tenaciously to truth, he ultimately realizes God. Without this regard for truth, one gradually loses everything. Every moment Sri Ramakrishna was conscious of this fact in his life. If for some reason a disciple told a lie and came to him, Sri Ramakrishna used to turn his face away from the disciple. That is Sri Ramakrishna's life. He did not preach anything that he did not practice it in his life. He could give up everything, but could not give up truth. Sri Ramakrishna himself revealed this nature of his when he was talking to devotees. If by chance I say that I will go to the pine grove, I must go there even if there is no immediate need for it. Otherwise, I lose my hold on truth. After my vision of the Divine Mother, I prayed to Mother, taking a flower in my hands. O Mother, here is thy knowledge, here is thy ignorance, take them both. Give me only pure love. Here is thy holiness, here is thy unholiness, take them both. Mother, please give me pure love. Here is thy good, here is thy evil, take them both. O Mother, give me pure love. Here is thy righteousness, and here is thy unrighteousness, take them both. O Mother, give me pure love. Sri Ramakrishna said, I mentioned all this, but I could not say, O Mother, here is thy truth, and here is thy falsehood, take them both. I didn't say that. That's very important. He could give up anything. He could give up everything but truth. He could not give up truth. I gave up everything at her feet, but could not bring myself to a position of giving up truth. Sri Ramakrishna said this in the Gospel. Such was the Master's love for truth. He was an incarnation of eternal truth, and he demonstrated how to practice truth in day-to-day life. That's why devotees offer prayers to him, salutation to Sri Ramakrishna, the great Master, who practiced all the spiritual disciplines and their ancillaries with truth consciousness, and who established firmly that truth is a supreme righteousness. In our own troubled times, when unrighteousness seems to have a field day, the life and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, the apostle of truth, stand as a beacon light that can guide the world to peace and happiness. Hence it is that Swami Vivekananda says that with the advent of Sri Ramakrishna, the Satya Yuga has begun. These are the words of Swami Vivekananda, a prophet. The Satya Yuga has already started by the advent of Sri Ramakrishna. May His grace give us strength to be truthful and righteous in what we think and say and do. So the discipline of truthfulness is of immense value if you are really aspiring for spiritual life, If you are really aspiring for the realization of God, without question, you must practice the discipline of truthfulness. That concludes my topic. Next Tuesday we'll take some other topic. Page 648. Mahimacharan, a devotee, asked Sri Ramakrishna, can a man live in the world if his mind is once directed to God? Sri Ramakrishna answered, why not? Where will he go away from the world? I realize that wherever I live, I am always in Ayodhya of Rama. This whole world is Rama's Ayodhya. After receiving instruction from his teacher, Rama said that he would renounce the world. Dasharath sent the sage Vasishtha to Rama to dissuade him. Vasishtha found him filled with intense renunciation. He said to Rama, first of all, reason with me, Rama, then you may leave the world. May I ask you if this world is outside God? If that is so, then you may give it up. Rama found that it is God alone who has become the universe and all its living beings. Everything in the world appears real on account of God's reality behind it. Thereupon, Rama became silent. In the world, a man must fight against passions like lust and anger, against many desires, against attachment. It is convenient to fight from inside a fort, from his own home. At home, he gets his food and other help from his wife. In the Kali Yuga, the life of a man depends entirely on food. It is better to get food at one place than to knock at 7 doors for it. Living at home is like facing the battle from a fort. Live in the world like a cast-off leaf in a gale. Cast-off leaf. Such a leaf is sometimes blown inside a house and sometimes to a rubbish heap. The leaf goes wherever the wind blows, sometimes to a good place and sometimes to a bad. Now God has put you in the world, that's good. Stay here. Again, when He lifts you from here and puts you in a better place, that will be time enough to think about what to do then. God has put you in the world. What can you do about it? Resign everything to Him. Surrender yourself at His feet. Then there will be no more confusion. Then you will realize that it is God who does everything. All depends on the will of Rama. A devotee asked, what's that story about the will of Rama? Master said, in a certain village there lived a weaver. He was a very pious soul. Everyone trusted him and loved him. He used to sell his goods in the marketplace. When a customer asked him the price of a piece of cloth, the weaver would say, by the will of Rama, the price of the yarn is 1 rupee and the labor 4 annas. By the will of Rama, the profit is 2 annas. The price of cloth by the will of Rama is 1 rupee and 6 annas. Such was the people's faith in the weaver that the customer would at once pay the price and take the cloth. The weaver was a real devotee of God. After finishing his supper in the evening, he would spend long hours in the worship hall meditating on God and chanting His name and glories. Now late one night, the weaver couldn't get sleep. He was sitting in the worship hall, smoking now and then, when a band of robbers happened to pass that way. They wanted a man to carry their goods and said to the weaver, "Come with us." So saying, they led him off by the hand. After committing a robbery in a house, they put a load of things on the weaver's head, commanding him to carry them. Suddenly, the police arrived, and the robbers ran away. But the weaver, with his load, was arrested. He was kept in the lockup for the night. Next day, he was brought before the magistrate for trial. The villagers learned what had happened and came to court. They said to the magistrate, "Your Honor, this man could never commit a robbery." Thereupon the magistrate asked the weaver to make his statement. The weaver said, "Your Honor, by the will of Rama, I finished my meal at night. Then by the will of Rama, I was sitting in the worship hall. It was quite late at night by the will of Rama. By the will of Rama, I had been thinking of God and chanting His name and glories. Then by the will of Rama, the police kept me in the lockup for the night. And this morning, by the will of Rama, I have been brought before Your Honor." The magistrate realized that Weaver was a pious man and ordered his release. On his way home, the weaver said to his friends, "By the will of Rama, I have been released." Whether a man should be a householder or a monk depends on the will of Rama. Surrender everything to God and do your duties in the world. What else can you do? A clerk was once sent to prison. After his prison term was over, he was released. Now, what do you think he did? Cut capers or do his old clerical work? If the householder becomes a Jivan Mukta, then he can easily live in the world if he likes. A man who has attained knowledge doesn't differentiate between this place and that place. All places are the same to him. He who thinks of that place also thinks of this place. When I first met Keshav at Jayagopal's garden's house, I remarked, he is the only one who has dropped his tail. At this people laughed. Keshav said to them, "Don't laugh. There must be some meaning in his words. Let us ask him." Thereupon I said to Keshav, "The tadpole, so long as it has not dropped off its tail, lives only in the water. It cannot move about on dry land. But as soon as it drops in its tail, it hops out on the land. Then it can live both on land and in water. Likewise, as long as a man has not dropped his tail of ignorance, he can live only in the water of the world. But when he drops his tail, that is to say, when he attains the knowledge of God, then he can roam about as a free soul or live as a householder if he likes." Mahimacharan and the other devotees remained spellbound, listening to the Master's words. We shall stop here. Questions are invited. Discussions we may have. Any question about practicing truthfulness? Of course. No, it is true. That's the ways of attraction. That's the ways of the world. The world always wants you to be more worldly. That means it wants you to behave like a worldly person, not as a spiritual person. That's why you find the spiritual person of real worth, he shines remarkably because of that quality. First of all, that's why I told in the beginning, you must be determined in your spiritual pursuit. And you must have strong aspiration for spiritual achievement. If your goal is to reach God, to seek God in this very life, then it follows you have to be truthful. The reason is, whatever, it doesn't mean that you have to compromise with the world. No compromising with the truth. It puts you in a difficult situation, but you must not be shaken by that. On the other hand, you must face the situation. Even if it means to give it up, you should not feel sorry about it. We have found in Sri Ramakrishna's life, Sri Ramakrishna's father, because he could not give a false affidavit, some landlord wanted Kshudiram to go to the court to give a false affidavit, because Kshudiram was respected by everyone. If Kshudiram had gone to the court and said in a way how the landlord wanted, then the landlord would win the case. But Kshudiram said, I can never do that. In fact, landlord told him, I will give you a lot of wealth which could save your 3-4 generations to come. You don't have to worry for anything. That's a temptation. Do you want that wealth? Or do you want to adhere to truth? He said, no, I don't care for that. I don't want anything of your wealth. I don't need. I don't want to forsake my truth. No. Then he became very angry, and what he did was he filed a false suit against Kshudiram and grabbed Kshudiram's own land. He had to leave the place like a refugee, And he came to Kamatpukur. His friend was there. His friend, he knew Kshudiram was very uprighted person. He immediately offered his, look, I have got my extra land, please cultivate and maintain your family. And he was so grateful. And Kshudiram made a statement, well, I don't complain God, let things happen according to God's will. And that's the contrast, you see. If you hold on, that's the meaning of, that's what the Upanishad says, the Vedas, Satyam Vada Dharmanchara Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam Na Pramaditavyam. All the three must be practiced together. You have to speak truth, you have to follow righteous path, you must not give up study of spiritual texts. Otherwise you will lose all power. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. Cunningness and these things, they won't satisfy a person. It gives a kind of immediate excitement or some immediate benefit you may have, but in the long run, one gets negative reaction out of that. That's how the bad samskars are created in the mind. That's how the suffering comes to the person. Why the suffering comes? Why? Because of that. So, one has to be very definite about what he wants and how he should conduct himself. Do you want to please the people or do you want to please God? That's the point. And so, that's why Lord Krishna says in the Gita, Santushto yena kenachit, be contented. Whatever you have, whatever God has provided you, be contented with that. In contentment you feel peacefulness. In contentment you feel peace. So, if you are not having too many desires, they should not bother you. And you don't have to be cunning. It is like telling, I am amidst robbers, so I should also become a robber. That means, how can you uplift yourself? You will be a robber only. That's all. And whatever the consequences, one has to follow. Robbers are always prone to be arrested by the police and put into lockup. Like that, world is a prison. You must know that. From that point of view, the more You act in a worldly way, the more you are kept in the worldly prison. You are not able to get out of the world. You can't get real peace, real happiness unless you give up worldliness, unless you hold on to truth, unless you practice spiritual disciplines. It's difficult to realize God in this very life. Jivan Mukti. It's not possible. How Sri Ramakrishna tried and practiced and taught. And there may be one Harishchandra, there may be one Mahabali, but throughout the world, throughout the yugas, they are being worshipped. During Deepavali, they worship Bali. So, like that, Sri Ramachandra gave up all his kingdom for the sake of practicing truthfulness. He distributed all his wealth, do you know? He called the people of the Ayodhya, come on, take away everything. He went like a real hermit. He gave up everything, literally. He even wanted Janaki to stay in Ayodhya, but she said, no, I will come with you. I am your partner. You should not ask me to stay here. So Rama agreed. Well, so Sri Rama could have hold on to that. He could have told Kaikeyi, what absurd you are talking about. He could have simply brushed and he could leave. Nobody could question Rama's power. But he didn't want that. He didn't want. No. He was not for power, he was for the principle. What for? The life, how the life should be carried on. Life must be based on truthfulness. That is the real life. So, you must not be afraid of difficult things or difficult situations, things. Otherwise, how do you understand the glory of God? The glory of God is realized only through difficulties, only through crisis, only through sufferings. Crisis comes and it melts away and you feel overwhelmed. Oh, God is so great. He is helping me. He's taking me. He's leading me. That's it. So you get more and more peace of mind. You are well established in truth, well established in your spiritual ways. That's the way. There's no compromise, literally speaking. But then, no, we have to behave like that. If you say like that, then you don't grumble about the reactions. Some things happen, don't worry. Bear with them. Just like Sri Ramakrishna always gives that example. A man is having a kerosene shop. He goes to his shop in the marketplace. He sells kerosene oil. His whole body is smelling with kerosene. Oh, if he grumbles, oh, what should I do? I can't help. I have to sell kerosene. That's my livelihood. So I cannot give up. Then bear with kerosene smell. That's all. You can't say, I shouldn't have kerosene smell. At the same time, I will manage to deal with kerosene oil. It's just like that. As long as you are in the world, you are carrying on activities in the world, as long as you are drawn towards the world, to that extent, the mind is tainted by the worldliness. Mind is tainted by worldliness. That's true. And bear that fact and pray to God. Oh God, this is my condition. Please give me strength. Give me purity. Make me get over this state. Like that. That's why people say, after my retirement I will practice spiritual life. Because after retirement there is no commitment or there is no question of cheating or cunning, etc. But after retirement he cannot do. He cannot sit, he cannot lay down, he cannot stand, he cannot speak. It's a wretched state actually. But people cannot avoid it. By simply criticizing old age, you can't avoid old age. Old age is an experience. Old age comes to everyone, so that one should learn a lesson through old age. So when you are young, you must do Whatever you can do it when you are young. That's the idea. Anyway, even at the later stage, even at the old age, if you feel that you should do some practice, if you really aspire for spiritual knowledge, even in that old age, that will help you in a future birth. You may get a good body, and you may start with a good vigor to practice spirituality. That's how the value of renunciation came. Otherwise, why should there be renunciation at all? If you say cunningness, you have to be there, all these things should be there, then don't talk about renunciation. So renunciation means taking the mind out from all these worldly entanglements. Wash it up nicely, purify it, then offer it to God. That's the meaning. Any more question? No, true. No. No, if you want to see goodness in him and praise him, that's good. If for some other reason, if you praise him so that you may have some monetary benefit, then it is bad. Suppose I see only good quality in everyone, even though a bad person may be there, he has got some good quality. By thinking about his good quality, you will be peaceful and you will be sympathetic. It doesn't mean that fellow is having some wicked tendency. It doesn't mean you should also have that tendency. It doesn't mean that. But influence will be there, no doubt. But you have to give up that hypocrisy in spiritual life. You have to give it up. The meaning is, you conduct yourself properly, that's all. Don't worry about X, Y, Z. You worry about only yourself. Correct yourself only, subjecting yourself. All the spiritual discipline is meant for individual. You purify, you see how you can go through your spiritual path. So there should not be any confusion. Sri Ramakrishna said that if for some small things, he could not find the way to Kali temple because he could not fulfill the truth. No, he is setting an example for us. So it means that if you admit that situations happen, I agree. I am not telling I am not aware of the fact. Sure, I am really aware of the fact. As long as you are in the world, you will be tainted by worldliness. So to be in the world at the same time not to be tainted by it, that's a technique of life. Technique. That is, Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of maid servant in a rich man's house. She serves the rich man's children very well, and she, my darling, etc. She hugs them. She loves them, and the children also love her very much. But still, the maid servant knows that they are not her children. Her children are in the home, far away in the village. So that attitude you must have. You are in the world, you are performing the duty. Only for the sake of performing duty, you are engaged in some activities. So if your mind is, that's why upasana must be regular. Upasana must be regularly done. That is morning upasana, evening upasana, prayers and worship. If you do that, whatever the impurities you might have collected during your work on the day, they are washed away. Do you know? Yadannāt kurute papam tadannāt pratimuchyate. Yadratriyat kurute papam tadratriyat pratimuchyate. Whatever the sin I have committed in daytime, let it be washed away. Whatever the sin I have committed in night time, let it be washed away. Like that the prayers are given in Sandhyavandan mantras. See, they are daily prayers. See, you don't have to worry. You don't feel depressed. Say, suppose you are working. Naturally, your hands become dirty. So apply detergent and wash the hand clean. Finished. Hands become clean. So, praying to God is like washing your hands. Every day you must pray. Every day you wash your mind. But your prayer must be sincere. Then you will have proper attitude, And you conduct yourself properly, that's all. Not criticize anybody. World will be like that. World will be always like this. World has got its own way of function, and it functions like that. So, your part is how you conduct yourself in this world and how you get your release. That's all. How you touch the granny. That's all. We shall stop. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. Own name streamed down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its curve to knowledge of thyself, O self drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various art thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for Thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is Thy servant, O sweet one. In Thy mercy consider him as dust beneath Thy feet. Oh, how I long for the day when an instant separation from Thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without Thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at Thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of Thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of Thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O Thou who stillest the hearts of Thy devotees, do with me what Thou wilt, but Thou art my heart's beloved, Thou and Thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere. May all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous reign tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy. May the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be free from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of the sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for He being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased, He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.